right, Mr. Malhi, how you doing?
Man, thank you guys for having me. Thank you, boss.
No worries. And I know last time we tried to do this, our camera didn't record. So take two. You really would have been our first interview.
Appreciate it.
Ended up being Chris, which is still great. We got you here for the second interview. And so we kind of talked about this last time, and but we didn't get it on camera. So we'll go ahead and start it up from here again. Malhi, you're a DJ here. You're a big name, especially within the Punjabi community. You're one of the only few people I know that started with your name, and it's become a brand of sort to where you have your teams under you, and that's awesome, man. You don't see that a lot. You don't see a lot of growth, and it's cool to see someone like you taking your brand somewhere and making more products out of it. You also own the Curry Pizza Company, and also thank you for your donations to the Valley Children's Hospital last week. We were able to deliver it again. We had this podcast planned last week, but here we are.
That's fine. We got a better studio this time,
Yeah. What is meant to be is meant to be, man. Let's start with what got you into DJing.
I always had a passion for the music. I used to collect music, and then somehow, but right out of high school, and I didn't have any plans for college, and I don't think I was smart enough, but I wanted to do music, so I got into the DJ business after one of my friends did, and then DJ's been a great and then I did gas station work for years. I used to work at a gas station, did that for a good 4 or 5 years, maybe more. And then I had it when I was in high school. I wanted to do a restaurant. So for me to do a restaurant, I needed to be a chef. I love cooking and stuff like that. But for me to leave the weekend, the DJing stuff and going cooking, so I couldn't do that. So I got my sister and my wife involved, and we started Curry Pizza in 2017. And that's been a blessing. Fresno has given me a lot of love for that. And now we currently have almost close to 10 locations. We have 7 running and 3 under construction right now. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations.
We are blessed.
That's awesome. Yeah. And that's the thing with the DJing. You mentioned that you have and I would have to argue against you when you say that you weren't smart enough to go to college. Obviously, you become a successful businessman. It takes smarts to do that. Not everyone that graduates college really can call themselves successful. So I would hold back on putting yourself down like that. But no, that really is awesome because that is one of the main, I'd say, critiques, especially in the minority cultures, where it's you have to be a doctor, you have to be an engineer, you have to be all these different professions, right? And not saying that's bad. The education is great. And our parents only want the best for us.
That's true.
And everyone knows doctors make money, and
they think that's the safest way to go,
Yeah, and so that there's no blame on the parents at all. But part of what we are trying to do here is we're trying to kind of expand that type of thinking to where it's no, there are different paths. We can all go for the top of the mountain, but there's no one path towards it, right? Everyone's got their own road to go up there.
Yep.
And you're proving it. You're a living proof of your own road that you can go up there. You can be successful without a degree.
Yes.
And I think that's important to really. It
all comes down to the hours you put in.
Yeah.
You could work a job, and if you don't put in the extra hour for yourself, and you're gonna be working a job.
Right.
That's what I think. If you do have a dream, hey, you want to go into the music, you want to own a company, you want to own a car dealership, whatever you think is fair,
Yeah, because I know a few people that have successfully completed, whether it's a nursing program or whatever it may be, but they are not happy with where they are because they just don't see it, or it's not what they envisioned the job would be someday. Right. And so they've had to either change careers, or now that they are in student debt, or they're in some situation where they can't get out of it right now. And so really, for any of the young listeners out there, I think it's important to first kind of experience or kind of explore what grabs your attention, what grabs your interest, and then see what type of career you make it out to be.
Yes, I always tell people like, hey, meet up with people, talk to people, enjoy what you do. So let's say if I'm in the food business, I would like to meet up with 100 people who's involved in a restaurant, like get to learn from them, ask them questions. What did it take for them to get started? I mean, I have friends in the Bay Area. They did pizza for a while, and they did model mics. And I reach out to them, and they own a lot of them. Talk to them and got some ideas from them, and then just started putting to work. That's what it takes. And then we did the Shaw location was 2017, and then I think in the 19 we had opened the Nice location. After that, we did like 3. Last year we'd opened 4 stores together.
Oh, that's
and we would never think about that, For me, when I started, I always wanted to have like a one restaurant, and then you focus on the quality, the product and all that. You got a good team. I got a pretty good team at all stores, and I'm blessed. So we doing great.
No, that's great because
take over, man. We want to take over.
No, and I don't think anyone will be opposed to that. That's awesome. That's a great goal to have. One, and I feel like it's just, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's usually the first step that is the hardest to take, right? Because, like for example, me, whenever I have all these ideas, and even including this podcast, I didn't know where to start, right? Like and then it's just because of my personality, I guess you can say, and then the connections I have, like you mentioned, I was able to find a way to be like, okay, I'm just going to commit, and we are going to go ahead and get started.
That's what it takes.
And but that initial start, I don't think people realize it's not just like your ideas. You, like you mentioned, you have to put in the effort, but then also you have to find the right opportunity as well.
Yep, definitely.
And you can't just be like having an idea today and thinking that it's going to take into effect tomorrow. You have to prepare, and you have to wait for I didn't really plan to start this until I had you in my mind. I had a few other guests in my mind. I'm like, okay, I've got a few lineups, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
Right. I mean, once you have the timeline, you start working towards that, right? And the biggest thing is you start beating yourself every day. I don't want to be. If I opened 3 stores last year, I want to have 4 stores next year. That's just the way you kind of beat yourself. You don't want to beat somebody else. I don't want to beat my competitors. I mean, I have nothing against them. They could do their own thing, but what I want to do is I want to beat myself every year. Like, hey, this is what I did last year. I need to make it better this year. That's the way it is. So even if you're looking for a spot, try to drop something up. Hey, in 6 months, I need to have this much knowledge. I need to chart everything down and then find a spot, start working on it, get the knowledge you want.
What do you think about when you're taking the risk at the beginning? Are you taking a calculated risk, meaning that you are going to take a risk and be like, okay, this is what I envision, and this is, it may or may not work? Or is it just a risk in general to where you think of something new, and without having real knowledge of it, you just implement it? Like, what do you think is better when it comes to business, I'd say? Is it really about taking the right risks, or is it about taking a risk in general?
No, it's definitely, I mean, if you know what you want to do, then the risk factor comes down, right? I mean, it's still a risk. I'm not saying it's not a risk. But once you start, it needs 110% from you every day. It's just not a one-day thing. Hey, I'm going to go in today, like, I'm going to get up at 5 a.m., but tomorrow I'm going to get up at 9 a.m. It doesn't work like that. So for me, I have a set system like, hey, I got to get up at 6.
Right.
And if you take me 3 years back, I used to get up at 5. It's kind of, now I have kids and stuff like that. I want to make sure they sleep in and all that. So the risk is always going to be there, but like, it's beatable. You just got to, the more knowledge, the more research you have, the less risk factor becomes, right?
Right. And I feel like for the restaurant business, because I remember I was kind of trying to look into it, you have to expect to start with a loss, right? Like for a while, you have to expect that loss. And I think a lot of people that fail are because they expect to make money right away.
Right away.
And but how big of a, do you value experience in terms of like, do you really need to have experience in that field to actually start and be successful at that business?
It's good to kind of do work around it, like work with somebody for a little bit, just kind of, learn the process and stuff. But right now, like, there's a lot of stuff you could Google stuff, you could read books, you could do YouTube. Makes it easier. So one of the stores we did in Stevenson Ranch, that store, it was supposed to be open within 4 to 5 months. That store took us a year and a half to open. So we paid a rent on that location for almost 13 months without even doing anything to it.
Mm.
And it was just part of the lease. We couldn't get out of it. Luckily, we had, I have experience. I could say experience and stuff like that. But something random stuff came up. It didn't have the gas meter there. They didn't have the grease trap there and all that stuff. The LA County, then the COVID hit, everything went online. So a lot of people started doing the research, you couldn't go in person to submit permits. You had to do everything online, and 5 different people had to check.
The specialty pizzas you have at your restaurant, did you come up with those?
Yeah. Actually, my wife and my sister, they did it. I had
Okay.
I did a couple items on the menu. I didn't do the whole thing. So I always tell people, you got to do what you're good at. You don't want to do the whole. If I'm not good at something, I'm not going to try to do it.
Right.
But you could become good at anything if you practice.
Right.
So at the same time,
And especially when you have so much invested, you want to keep
Right.
on giving something new to the public.
Yes,
right?
yes. So we are known for chicken wings, and we make sure the quality is good. Every time you believe in quality, your food business will go hit. There are some taco trucks out there, right? They serve great tacos. Doesn't matter which side of town. I like to go there. I don't mind driving 20 minutes just for those tacos, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not every day, but when I'm craving really good tacos. So just because the heart and stuff they put in, you're gonna win. That's it.
Right. And then, so when you are making these pizzas and everything, what kind of got you into the business? I know, it's like for me to be just a random spectator, you went from a DJ to opening a pizza restaurant.
Yeah.
What made that transition? What encouraged you to kind of
with the DJ business, I travel. I went to Seattle. I went to Canada a couple of times. They had a lot of Indian pizzas there.
Okay.
Hey,
So that's where you got the
yeah, I was
inspiration.
like, hey, dude, I always wanted an Indian pizza, We made it home a couple of times, but, then the Clovis Gordo, I used to have pizzas,
Yeah.
to go there. and then they stopped serving, and then finally I was like, hey, we got to make the move.
Okay.
I saved up for it. We did our first location, and it took us a while. It took us a good 6-7 months to start breaking even, and then after that, start turning into profit.
Well, I'm glad you guys are doing what you're doing because you're doing great at it. And I can't emphasize enough, you don't see a lot of businesses that give back to the community, and your business really does.
My goal is, I don't think I'm giving back enough. So our goal is, the more I make, I want to keep giving back. Fresno has given me a lot of love, man, a lot of respect. With the DJ business, I haven't printed my business cards in 2012.
Okay.
I never had business cards after that. That was the last time I ordered business cards for the DJ business.
And you're still everywhere.
And it's been a blessing. All the work I've been getting has all been word of mouth. People have my number saved in their phone. So, but I want to recommend people not doing it. I was continue with the marketing and stuff like that.
Okay, and then bouncing back to the DJ business, when it comes for example, for me, there's so much. Especially in the Punjabi industry, so much music that comes out on
every day.
business. How do you find?
And so much nonsense comes out.
Yeah,
that makes it worse.
Yeah, and for someone like me who doesn't have the time to really do that, because it is your business, so you have to invest yourself in it.
Right.
What is a process like where you have to kind of dig through the pile of trash, like you're saying, to find the good one?
And good thing about it, right now a lot of the music comes on TikTok too.
Yeah.
So the Instagram reels and stuff like that. So that's where the music comes popular on it. And the good thing about it, I try to buy some of the music, but I don't buy a lot of Punjabi music because, you just get them off. It's free, but a lot of the stuff is trash, right?
Yeah.
So you just gotta listen to it and see what's going, and you try it. A lot of the stuff I try to play during the pre-show and see how people feeling it. So you start building up the crowd. And, hey, this is not going to work. And
since you're really into the music business, I want to ask you something. It's a common belief, especially with the young crowd, or even actually the older crowd, that the quality of music has really gone downhill.
Some of them, yes, but you also got, you got Sidhu Moosewala who changed the game in 5 years. Hey, the guys just took over the DJ part.
Yeah.
It's with the music. For me, when you listen to him, you're sad, you can listen to his music. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
You're hyped, you can listen to his
There
music.
there
you know?
are certain ones that, yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
And for me, like, I mean, every time I like traveling to LA by myself for my locations. I love listening to music all the way. So that gives me 4 hour up, 4 hour down. So I spend about 8 hours just listening to good music. And then I have my Spotify playlist just kind of added on there. Yeah, we need to work on this, make this for the wedding. And
Oh, so you're still
Yes.
working even
yes,
if you're not working.
yes.
No, that's awesome, man.
It's all about, scheduling. It's on Monday and Tuesdays. Mondays, my pizza days. I'll commit the whole day on the pizza business on Mondays and Tuesdays, and Wednesday kind of relax off.
Okay.
And Friday, Saturday, Sunday, be back at it.
I think that's awesome that you have certain days where you want to relax, because I think that's an
Yes.
overlooked prospect, because you see it on Instagram and everywhere. People are just posting all these motivational quotes. You have to work, if you had 26 hours, you should be working 26 hours type of
Right.
stuff. And it's like, and I think a lot of the younger crowd that falls into that's why they burn out easily. And
Right.
they fall into this, they realize by the time they're 30 that they don't have friends, or they don't have all this, because
Right.
they spent so much time, doing all these things seriously, which is great. You're trying to chase something, but the value of having the life, the balance between life and work, I feel like is overlooked, especially in our community where it's just always work.
Our people work hard,
Yeah, and it works and it pays off, but that's probably also why, like, there's a lot of mental health issues within our community.
which we don't talk about.
It's because we're too busy to talk about it.
Right. And we think, oh no, it's just because it just whatever.
Yeah.
We don't look at it that way.
Yeah, and so that's cool that you have that balance for yourself, because I try to do that myself with my job and doing all these little things in between. But I always know, okay, for example, Saturdays are my days where I'm just making sure I end it with a pizza. And
Okay. Make sure it's with curry pizza though.
all right, hey, you know what? Next time it will be. But yeah, and that's awesome, because like I said, it's overlooked, and your DJ business is obviously booming right now, and it's we wish that it continues to do that way.
Thank you.
Even
I got
with
a
your
pretty solid team, man. I mean, I got 4 people on my team,
yeah,
and they're solid. So
yeah. No, I've seen
love the music,
clips. And if people want to reach out to you to book you, do you have a website, or do you have a direct?
Usually we have Instagram and stuff like that. We have all the info, and
Did
we were
you-
working on a website too. So we used to have a website, then we got busy. We got so much we could handle events and stuff like that. So never kind of had a chance to fix the website after that. So
Gotcha. And then for your piece of business, you said how many locations are in Fresno
we
right
have
now?
Fresno 2, 1 in Tulare. Then we have about 4 in LA.
Okay.
So, but we're growing. We're building 2 more in Fresno.
So you guys are going down south right now?
Yes.
South California?
But we opening a few more in Fresno too.
Okay. And
Yes.
then are you guys also planning to move up north?
No, I mean, with my kids growing, so I do want to grow. We might go into franchising next year.
Okay.
So right now we own all the current locations. We don't franchise them. So
You know what? Why don't you explain the difference between that? Franchising something, is that, so let's say if someone is opening a store under your franchise.
yes,
So obviously you're not going to be getting 100% of whatever profit
Right,
they're
right,
making, but you're getting a loyalty percentage of that,
yes,
right?
yes.
That's how that works?
That's how it works. Yes, but you also at the same time, you also want to find the right person. You don't want to just give somebody just. Especially our people, some people want to come in just because they have the money. Hey, I'll take your franchise. But the thing is, we need somebody who's willing to, take care of it like that. We build that stuff from ground up. I don't want anyone to eat a curry pizza, then come to me, hey, Malhi, we ate your pizza, man. It was bad. Just make me look bad.
You still want your integrity.
Yes, we want to make sure whoever does it right. That's it.
Okay.
Especially the food business. And I always wanted to talk to a lot of the Indian restaurants in Fresno too. Hey, serve some good food. People, when they see the name curry, hey, people gonna come up to you. Hey, we ate the Indian food there. It wasn't that good. Or we ate this pizza. It wasn't good, right? So try to do your best, man. And let's make this curry thing, all over the world. Like people started. A lot of people. We get customers. They're scared to try curry.
Yeah.
They think it's spicy or whatever it is. We try to bring them in. Hey, we just try to give them a sample one time. Hey, give it try the sample, see how it goes. and then those customers became our regulars. It
Yeah.
takes some time.
Right, and I think it's just because of what everyone's heard over the years.
Yeah.
And then it just goes from the word of mouth from there. But no, that's awesome. And then also when it comes to your business, how do you handle, and I know you say you have 2 days where you kind of take it off.
Yes.
Is it with the DJ Malhi Entertainment? Is that the same thing you're trying to do right now? You're trying to leave everything off to your teams?
Yes, I mean, Malhi, Vivek, and just they're really good guys on my team, and these guys love the music. So they handling on their part, so I do my part. We have everything spread out. So when something comes up, I do my part, they do their part, and everything goes great.
And Chris, just to let you know, and any listeners sitting out there, like I think I was finishing high school when he first started, like his entire DJ gig.
Yep, 2009, 8,
yeah,
2009, something like that.
And
I'm old now, man.
that was my junior year in high school, and I remember like he had started it, and at that point, there weren't too many Indian DJs. Right?
Yeah,
like,
it wasn't many of them. Yeah.
There weren't too many, but then the thing is, the reason there weren't any many is because they didn't really go anywhere with that career, where he's like the only one that I've seen that went from like doing everything himself to branching out and having his own teams. And now it's like you guys cover the entire state. You guys also go out of state.
Yeah, we do a lot of out. We actually go into we did a lot of events in Seattle, all over California. Cancun. Next month, this month we're going to be in Cancun as well for the wedding. But now since with the family and stuff, like I'd rather be local. I have so much work local. I'd rather be local, but I'll let Buddy and other guys, they do all the traveling. They're
They
so
get to have
single,
the
they're
fun
so
out there.
young. Yeah.
Well, Chris, do you have any questions you want to ask?
How often do you go out of the country for the gigs?
A couple times a year out of the country. Not a lot
times.
out of the country, yes, but mostly like I'd rather be local.
Yeah.
But like, so that's always the better part, the business side, and because I'm running a piece of business too. So if I leave the country, I'm losing at least 4 or 5 days.
Right.
1 day before the gig, you don't want to go in the same day, and then once you're out of the country, you definitely want to spend an extra day out there since you're already taking a trip.
Right.
So.
Yeah, no, I was actually curious about that last part. So, yeah, no.
Well, it's been a pleasure, Mr. Malhi.
Well, thank you
It
guys.
was nice having you here.
Thank you.
And again, in the future, maybe if you have any announcements or anything, you want to come back.
I want to let the local people know, like if any kids, anybody, they want to talk about anything,
Yes.
come up to me, these guys, and anything you guys want to start, be willing to help you with open arms.
That's awesome to hear. You don't get that type of support down. I mean, our community is great together.
Yes.
But not everyone is always willing to
including the
reach out
DJ,
with that hand.
the restaurant business, whatever you guys have questions, and I'm willing to answer.
And that's kind of the side point of this entire podcast is the young listeners that are listening.
And start calling out the Punjabis in Fresno. We need to start calling them out. If somebody's bullshitting somebody or just ruining somebody's reputation or just ripping people off, trying to use our people, call them out, man.
Yeah, and
so they could behave,
if
and they talk, and Saudi, they all want to come on the live TV and talk about it, but and they ripping people off. So
yeah, unfortunately, that is the downside. And look, those people, if they want to come on here and explain themselves, they're more than welcome to do so. And
anytime.
This is not going to be that. There's some serious stuff that had happened.
No, let's leave that right.
All right,
that's for another show.
We will definitely have you back
Yeah.
at some point, and but until then, we'll see you guys next episode.
All right, thank you. No.